This isn't exactly subtle by Masai Ujiri, as there's been a ton of blockbuster reports dropping over the past couple of days, and the Toronto Raptors' new reports revealing essentially the Toronto Raptors' hand approach master plan heading into this year's trade deadline, as more and more things are shaking up the NBA every single hour as we inch closer and closer to this year's trade deadline, and the Raptors are doing their best to facilitate the master plan, to facilitate the direction of this organization to a place where we can really be set up well for the future. So we're going to break down the latest details regarding this Toronto Raptors team, what's going on around the NBA, which has a significant impact out there on the Toronto Raptors, different players that are available, how the Raptors can get involved in these different details, and frankly, what we can expect from this Raptors team over the next couple days. Because this trade deadline has been by far the most absurd trade deadline in NBA history. There's no debating it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This has been an NBA trade deadline that has absolutely flipped the world on its head. And if you want to stay up to date with everything regarding this team, regarding the Toronto Raptors, how it impacts this team, you're part of the 67% of our viewers that haven't hit the subscribe button just yet. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing that's going on. But it has been mad. And we have some new updates. We have some new details about the Toronto Raptors kind of approach to this year's trade deadline, because frankly, it's not been quiet on the Raptors front over the past couple days, but the league has just been shaken up so much. There's nothing really coming out beyond the fallout of the Luka Doncic and LA Lakers trade, AD trade, and then obviously the De'Aaron Fox trade with the Sacramento Kings. But things are starting to pick up now, and Masai Ujiri is getting ahead of this. So essentially, news has come out that Chris Boucher and Bruce Brown are questionable for the Raptors game on Tuesday. Lawson and Shamshire with the 905, while Mobo and Battle are back with the Toronto Raptors. The Knicks are on a back-to-back, so we'll see, but OG Anunoby, Daite, and Robinson are all out for them tonight. So it's they're on a back-to-back, so they're playing the Rockets tonight. But this is pretty straightforward. This is pretty clear. Two reasons for players being out that aren't, significant, surely an illness can be a serious thing. I don't hope Chris Boucher isn't fully sick or fully bad or anything along those lines. Bruce Brown got a knock in his face out there in the LA Clippers game, but these are things that are very much the phantom trade deadline injuries. They're very much pulling this squad from out. I'm willing to bet. I'm sure there's actually symptoms. I'm sure there actually is something going on. I'm sure Chris Boucher might be not feeling great. I'm sure Bruce Brown actually did get hit in the face, but these are things that you could just kind of point to at any given night and say, hey, you don't want to play, you can't do this, and then there's an excuse. The NBA doesn't fine you for it. So that is that's not surprising there for Masai Ujiri and Masai Ujiri making this kind of call, making this type of decision when Boucher and Bruce Brown are your two most valuable trade assets that you're willing to part with. I mean, Jakob Poeltl, of course, could be dealt if the price is right, but it feels like Masai Ujiri's value of him, Raptors fans' value of him versus the open market probably aren't aligned on that front. And then, of course, IQ, Immanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, Scottie Barnes, unlikely they'll get dealt. So that's kind of the position. That's kind of the place that the Toronto Raptors are at. They're holding out Chris Boucher, Bruce Brown, so they are not getting hurt. That's nothing novel. That's nothing crazy. We've seen that in years past with the Toronto Raptors, even though we have seen, in certain nights like the Jakob Poeltl trade and stuff, he did play the night of, so it's not unheard of a guy that's in trade talks, in trade conversations to, be out there suited up, out there on the basketball court. So that's something that we can all take a look at. And it's nothing really novel in regards to Bruce Brown and Boucher being in trade talks. This isn't new information. But we have a ton of new things coming out across the NBA, which are frankly continue to make the NBA even more crazy, even more shocking. So essentially, news came out today that the Warriors are legitimately calling about every all-star player. Just name the all-star player, LeBron players, Kevin Durant, players like Jimmy Butler. They are calling absolutely everybody. Now, it has been widely discussed. It's been widely talked about. We've covered it here on the channel. The Golden State Warriors are trying to rebuild around Steph Curry, build a championship contender in his twilight years. And getting off of Andrew Wiggins is a part of that deal. It's a part of that package, given his money situation, given everything. And then multiple reports have linked the Toronto Raptors as a facilitator, where they take on Andrew Wiggins and then also additional assets, and other teams get other types of assets. So that's why the Warriors, being very, very motivated to make a blockbuster trade, does have a significant impact on this Toronto Raptors group, because they have been the most notable facilitator for a trade that involves Andrew Wiggins and, the Golden State Warriors. So don't be surprised if in the coming days a big blockbuster trade happens. The Golden State Warriors are a part of it, and the Toronto Raptors are the ones that are essentially taking on an interesting piece like that. So that's one sort of report that's dropping, but it continues to get even crazier because the Warriors have called on Kevin Durant. They have been aggressive to see if they can pry him away. That is true. Several teams have called the Suns on KD, but Phoenix is still focused on a Butler-Beal deal or smaller deals if they Miami won't budge on Jimmy. So the Warriors are trying to get stuff done. The Phoenix Suns are pretty active out there in the marketplace. A Jimmy Butler trade to Phoenix still feels like it's on the docket. And again, everything with the Jimmy Butler trades, everything with the Golden State Warriors, the Toronto Raptors have been linked as facilitators in all of these different deals. So, Bruce Brown is a guy that makes a ton of sense to be in one of these packages. Of course, 8.4 points per game, 4 rebounds, has looked really good as of late. He's shooting 50% on corner threes this year. So the three-point shooting is coming up a little bit. It's getting up a little bit of a percentage. And then, you also have a Chris Boucher, who's also a very, very valuable piece that contending teams would be interested in. I mean, it's no shock to any Raptors fan. I mean, every time Chris Boucher, even heck Bruce Brown plays, this team looks nice, this team looks good. Anytime these guys are on the bench, these guys are sitting out, the Raptors usually end up losing. So, the Warriors, the Suns still being in these big trade discussions, these big blockbuster moves are a sign that the Raptors are very much still in play to be facilitators of this year's trade deadline. That's no surprise there. But yeah, that's kind of a lot of the discourse in regards to the big reports. And then we also have some more interesting things. So Brandon Ingram has been a guy that's been linked to the Toronto Raptors a ton over the past week. And Ryan McDonough came out and said on NBA TV, I think Brandon Ingram is probably not on the New Orleans Pelicans after 3 o'clock on Thursday. So Brandon Ingram, the more we're hearing, we've heard some rumblings about the Hawks. We've heard some rumblings about the Lakers. We've heard some rumblings about the Golden State Warriors. Also, there's a market developing for Brandon Ingram, whereas last week, there was essentially nothing in regards to Brandon Ingram's ability to get traded. So, either the Toronto Raptors did their job for the New Orleans Pelicans and said, hey, we'll increase the trade value for Brandon Ingram, and now other teams are interested, or Brandon Ingram's legitimately going to get traded, and Masai Ujiri, of course, is pretty high on him according to all of the reports, according to all of the latest intel. So, I honestly am day by day thinking the Toronto Raptors are going to land Brandon Ingram. I think it's more and more likely, as the days go on, the more I'm reading, the more I'm seeing about the landscape of the league. So don't be shocked, even though it's a win now move. It's he's been dealing with some injuries, so it doesn't impact the tank too much. Don't be shocked to see Brandon Ingram actually on the Raptors. And then basically, this is some latest specifics in regards to the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors are looking to help facilitate a trade involving Jimmy Butler. The Warriors are reportedly still considering a deal for Butler. The Raptors could take on Wiggins after sending Bruce Brown to the Heat. The Heat previously registered interest in Brown, and the Raptors are looking for a significant piece next to Scottie Barnes. The Raptors are continuing to pursue a potential trade for Brandon Ingram. So nothing novel there. Lots of stuff that's going on at this point for Brandon Ingram. And there's one rumor that I've seen been floating around that has been said to be a couple times out there in the old Instagram DMs and stuff. But basically, Masai's burner makes a lot of tweets out there online, and he came out and said this. Wow, just got info from a source connected to the Raptors. Nick Goss sent me this too. If you're familiar with Jay's Digest, Leafs Digest, Toronto sports, getting that rocking. But if what he's saying is true, this fan base will go absolutely ecstatic. I won't announce anything till it's 100% confirmed. And I'm not above leaning into some rumors, leaning into some ambiguous stuff there, having some fun with all these trade deadlines. But this man tweeted the exact same thing on September 4th, and I don't recall anything big happening on September 4th. So stop sending me that. I don't think there's much to it, but we'll see. Maybe Masai's burner's right. He ends up leaking it. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about all this madness, all the latest news regarding this Raptors team. You guys best think as far. Subscribe to the channel. I'm signing out. Cheers.